directly online. You can watch our embedded Ustream feed. You can, if you've got an Apple device, listen using the TuneIn app. If you've got an Android device, you can go to kcaaexpress.com. And if you have none of the above, you can call to listen at 832-999-1050, 832-999-1050. That is not a toll-free call, so you'd have to check with your carrier about whether you're charged any fees for that. So, Tobin, I see you scrolling through a story. Why don't you talk about it?
I'm a middle school teacher, and this story scares the heck out of me. A guy invents the world's worst smell. The world's worst smell.
Okay.
And so imagine the worst smell that you can think of. Now imagine the scent of butt crack with a hint of dead animal tossed in. That's how Alan Whitman, 45-year-old Alan Whitman, describes his creation. And it's called liquid ASS.
Yes, you can say that on the air. You can say that on the air, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Liquid ass. It's a smelly spray initially intended to be used in pranks. Middle school kids, stay away from this. We package liquid ass in a bottle small enough to hide in the palm of your hand.
Oh, that's great.
The bottle dispenses our nasty elixir in a thin, invisible, silent stream, thus equipping the prankster with stealth and speed, reads a product description. Per the 99% Invisible podcast, available for $10 on Amazon.com.
So now you're telling people how to buy it?
It's now used by the U.S. military to harden medics to the smell of torn intestine leaking waste. They use it for their to get their guys ready for the wartime stuff, Aaron. It's nasty.
It is the most appalling smell known to humanity. Adding the product lets you recreate the smell of festival toilets, soiled diaper, or a burst sewer in the comfort of your own home.
Wow.
Oh, you just hope that none of your students get a hold of that.
We get the traditional, Mark. You probably remember these things. We get the traditional smelly bombs. The kids get them off stink bombs.
Yeah.
The kids get them off of the ice cream truck.
Oh,
and every year we go, especially in the springtime, it seems to be a big deal. You'll get a kid setting one or two of those things off in the hallways at my school, and everybody about dies. And most of the teachers, if a kid will set it off in the classroom, we make everyone stay in there. We're like, tough. And the rest of the kids go after the kid who did it. That's how we get them. I don't have to do
peer pressure.
I don't have to do a thing. They're like, oh, you idiot.
But if this smell is really that bad, then nobody's going to want to be in that room. And does that stink follow you? So if you're in the room, do you now smell like that?
I know, right?
Ew.
I know. And you always wonder when you think of smell, how long does it last? Right? Is this going to be... is it one of those things like 3 weeks later and you're still trying to get rid of the smell? So
I'm thinking of this inventor. Everybody needs to send him a bomb with that smell on it,
right?
Because he's now created this, and middle school kids will get a hold of it if they can just find it on Amazon.
Yeah,
and it's making the news. So
I know.
Get prepared. They're listening to your show.
I know.
Well, you did it.
You'd be surprised how many of my students actually listen to my show.
Okay, so I think you need to keep a can of Febreze in your the spray.
Do
Febreze.
They listen? Do they listen?
I do. Yeah, I mean they do. They
always recount and stuff.
They ask about what we're up to, and they they'll listen different times. I'll get kids commenting on different things on the show. So.
Don't do that, or Mr. Brinker will be very unhappy.
But none of them listen on Mondays, I promise.
And you'll be promising your associate faculty members.
Right.
Yeah.
Be like, you told them how to do this.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, it's 6:15. It's time for a break. I'm Aaron Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
We got Mark Westwood in the booth. We are on the Brink, the morning show on Kcaa AM 1050 and FM 106.5. We'll be right back.
Get better, Brandon.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
Don Blankenship did not get what he deserves in his federal trial, but he definitely deserves what he got. Guilty declared all 12 West Virginia jurors who pondered the charge that this arrogant and avaricious CEO of Massey Energy, Inc. willfully conspired to violate America's mine safety laws. As a result of that conspiracy, 29 miners were essentially murdered by the corporation on April 5, 2010, in a horrific explosion deep inside Massey's Upper Big Branch coal mine. Blankenship, a multimillionaire right-wing ideologue, union buster, and political heavyweight, ran the UBB mine like a lawless third-world operator. It was one of the most dangerous workplaces in the country because this kingpin of King Coal relentlessly put profit over people, recklessly endangering miners. But coal is, indeed, king in West Virginia, so the laws are written to coddle the royals of the industry. Thus, Blankenship's guilt is to be punished by a maximum of 1 year in prison, and his diamond-studded legal team intends to have the jury's unanimous verdict of guilt tossed down the dark shaft of judicial favoritism for the rich. What the mining baron deserved was to be put in stocks on the state's capitol grounds, where he would be subjected to a steady stream of derision from the families of mine workers who were degraded, made ill, and even killed to haul up coal so Don could live in luxury. He escaped that justice, but he'll never shake off the guilty judgment of the jurors, or of the American people who followed the month-long, widely covered trial that fully documented the rank immorality of this man and his ill-gotten fortune. This is Jim Hightower saying he undoubtedly thinks he got away with murder, but in the court of public opinion, his legacy is that he has turned the name Blankenship into a four-letter word.
Need an antidote to the progressive blues? Want some good news about how grassroots folks are rebelling against the corporate powers and winning? Well, here's an easy-to-swallow pill for you, the Hightower Lowdown. Hightower's monthly newsletter will give you the lowdown, even as it lifts you up. It's 4 pages a month, jam-packed with facts you can use, actions you can take, and Jim's own Texas humor, all for only $15 a year. To become a lowdowner, go to hightowerlowdown.org.
For those of you traveling by air to celebrate this holiday season, LA Ontario International Airport wants you and your family to have a fun and safe trip. For your convenience,
remember, TSA travel rules are for your safety and those of others. LA Ontario International Airport reminds you to arrive early and check with your airlines for flight delays or cancellations.
ONT offers 62 daily flights to 15 non-stop western cities. This year, Santa brings your airport the Paws Pet Assisting with Smiles stress relief program. So, make sure to stop and pause a while, then sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. For more airport information, please visit us at lawa.org.
Hi, it's Dave Collins in Snow Country. Well, we were certainly helped out by Mother Nature over the past few days with lots of natural snowflakes and lots of terrain opening up for the first time this season. We'll see some more snow possible over the next few days. Your chance to get out and cruise possibly for the first time down the mountain. June with a half foot of snowfall over the past few days. They've got 80% of their terrain open for you. That's 28 trails on a packed powder and powder surface. China Peak picked up almost a foot over the weekend. They've got 24 runs. Arizona Snowball with a foot of snow for their storm total. 80% of their terrain is open for you. About half the terrain is open for you in Crested Butte, Colorado, where they picked up a few inches, expecting more on Tuesday and Wednesday. Ski Apache with a foot of snowfall. Also Mount Bachelor in Oregon. They're the big winner with over 4 feet of snowfall over the past week. Sun Valley in Idaho with a foot of snowfall. They've got 55% of their terrain open for you. Fresh powder surface at Snowbird in Utah as well with 31 trails. More at snowcountry.com. I'm Dave Collins on KCAA 1050 AM and the all-new 106.5 FM. The stations that leave no listener behind.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station, where your business comes first.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we have Mark Westwood in the booth. We are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. You know, I love the jazzy, fun Christmas music.
Mm-hmm.
It just,
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, it makes you feel festive.
Yeah, we need to feel festive.
We do. Do you have your Christmas lights up?
I have my tree up just last night.
Ah.
I have a pre-lit Christmas tree, and I had to work for about 2 hours to get it all pre-lit, so I stopped decorating at that point.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Tobin put our stuff up this weekend.
Yeah, now we're in the mood.
Now we're in the mood for
spirit.
Christmas. We actually started our Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Nothing like waiting until the last minute.
And I can tell that Tobin's in the mood there. If you're looking on our Ustream feed,
That's right.
You'll see him. He's wearing a Santa hat.
He is. He is. Well, and I got to tell you, there's some great deals to be had right now. If you haven't started Christmas shopping, now's the time to do it. I did a lot of shopping on Amazon because I'm a big Amazon fan. I hate going into stores. Can I just tell you, I don't like going into stores. And so there were some wonderful deals on clothing, on electronics, on all kinds of stuff. So
I have done a little Christmas shopping.
Have you?
Oh my gosh, for the first time ever. I'm a little early. I went to that new shopping center, Mountain Grove, over there in Redlands.
Next to Citrus Plaza?
Yeah.
In Redlands? Yeah.
They've got a great new food court.
Oh, well, that's great.
It has a little water theme in the middle of it, and it really is neat. They've got a neat pizza place there, and Habit Burger, and a whole bunch of food stuff. And then the stores it's a really good selection of stores, so that's where I'm going to continue my Christmas shopping this year.
Is the pizza place over there by chance Z Pizza?
No, it has a name like Quick Pizza or something like that. And
locally owned. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's a big place. It's kind of like Big Cheese Pizza or whatever that chain was.
Yes.
It's along those lines.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Right on. So, we're talking about things that drive the economy, namely spending money, but the economy's changed a lot. The middle class, according to CNN Money, middle class is no longer dominates in the United States. The middle class Americans now comprise less than half, or 49.9% of the nation's population, down from 61% in 1971, according to a new Pew Research Center report. For Pew, middle class Americans live in households earning between 2/3 to 2 times the nation's median income. In 2014, that ranged from $41,900 to $125,600 for a 3-person household. For decades, the middle class had been the core of the country. A healthy middle class kept America strong, experts and politicians said. But more recently, these residents have struggled under stagnating wages and soaring costs. Presidential candidates on both sides of the political aisle are campaigning on better ways, on ways to bolster the nation's middle class and increase opportunities to climb the economic ladder. The steady decline of the middle class is yet another sign of economic polarization, said Rakesh Rakesh.
Careful.
No. I mean, it's Kochhar.
Okay.
Associate Director of Research at Pew. Forgive me for mispronouncing his name. Not only are more Americans shifting into the upper and lower classes, but they are moving into higher range of the upper class and the lower range of the lower class. Yet another sign of growing income inequality, he said. There are few opportunities that place people in the middle of the income distribution, he said. One silver lining, however, is that more people are moving up the ladder than down. The ranks of the upper class are growing faster, according to Pew's research. Senior citizens were most likely to have shifted into the upper class since 1971. The share of Americans aged 65 and over in the upper bracket increased nearly 27% over that time. Married couples with no children and Black Americans also saw larger gains. The most likely to fall into lower classes were those with only a high school degree and high school dropouts, as well as unmarried men, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Here's another sign of how growing income inequality is squeezing the middle class. Since 1970, upper-class households saw their median income soar 47% to $174,600 in 2014. Meanwhile, middle class only got a 34% boost to $73,400. Still, they have been more prosperous than the lower-income Americans, who only received a 28% bump to $24,074. Some research shows that increased income inequality is a hollowing out of the nation's middle class, and it's of a nation's middle class, and that's stunting economic growth.
So I think this whole thing is a false metric and a false narrative. Why? For a variety of reasons. If you were to do a survey of people and ask them whether they thought they were upper class, middle class, or lower class, you're going to find a much larger percent of people that say that they're middle class. And if you look at what we call poor today, it actually would match up very nicely with what we called middle class just 30 years ago.
By standard of living?
By standard of living. If you looked at the things that they have, if you looked at the way that they're living their lives. And so I don't think that poverty today is the same as it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. And so to use these old metrics and say, oh, we have, and the other thing too that is shocking to me is that the percentages, more people have shifted into what we today would consider wealthy. And the story is that we're hollowing out the middle class as if this is a bad thing, because they're moving to become wealthier. You said all three categories went up in percentages over the last however many years, and yet we're supposed to feel bad because the middle class and the quote unquote lower class didn't go up as much, but they all went up. And so I think that the standard of living is changing. This is I think this is a false discussion. I don't get so worked up about the quote-unquote hollowing out of the middle class.
Well, here's another thing, and I don't know if I agree totally with what you just said, but there's something you could add there. That, in the olden days, when they didn't have washing machines and, they didn't have technology and things like that, it was a tougher time for people.
Indeed.
Nowadays, I think technology really kind of masks poverty. When you think about, in the old days, hobos never had telephones. And I call them hobos and they're transients.
For lack of a better word.
For lack of a better
now
word.
They all do.
Now they all have telephones.
They do.
So they're living a little better, but they're still impoverished.
Right.
So, and then we have the phenomena now that, you have kids trying to get out into the world and, they're faced with, the $1,200 and $1,500 apartment rents and, $300 car payments. And it's a tough world in a different way.
But, back when we were kids, back in the day, we just, it was still expensive for us. I mean, to get an apartment. So we doubled and tripled and quadrupled up with friends and got roommates, and you worked a lot of hours. And
3 jobs.
Exactly.
3 jobs.
And I did the same thing. I worked 40 hours a week during the school year, so in a university. I was going to school full time. And then as soon as I had a break, I added another job. I delivered pizzas. I did all kinds of crazy jobs.
And then you know what I did?
What was that?
I moved back home.
That wasn't an option for me.
I was a rebound kid for a little bit, yeah. But, hey, it happens to all of us. And then finally, you get your grant. But there's a lot of younger people. I think we need to look at another poll. This is the leading economic indicator of how many kids are staying home longer and living at home. Do you have older kids living with you?
So we have a daughter who is a sophomore in college.
19 years old.
She's 19, and she lives with us. But she works, and she goes to school full time, and she gets good grades, and that's the way that we're able to keep costs down for university. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, but our son was out at age 20. And he graduated from college and is doing very well.
Yeah,
for himself.
he lives in West Virginia, so that commute would be a little hairy if he tried to move back home.
Oh yeah.
So he's doing well. I think that
I hung on though. I'm one of those kids. I stayed with my parents till I was 25.
I didn't. I moved out at 19.
And my parents were very generous, and they would have probably had me move out sooner, but there were circumstances that kept coming up, and they wanted to help. And in fact, they let me live at home almost a full year after graduating because I could save up money to help pay for Aaron and I's wedding.
Yes.
So,
and that's another thing. Weddings are really expensive.
They are expensive.
Oh, my God.
What I'm interested to know about this is who those lower classes, the lower class are as individuals, who they are as individuals. And I say this because, are a lot of them recent immigrants, and within a generation they're in the upper classes? Are they, how mobile is that lower class? Now, a certain percentage are probably, they're high school dropouts, they don't go back to school, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people go back to school. And so, who are these people? How pervasive is their situation? Are they able to move out of it? Are they able to overcome it? And so if people are mobile, it bothers me less.
yeah.
And all polls are kind of interesting things. It just depends on where you conducted your survey and how many people you asked.
Right. Now, Pew is very reputable. Very reputable.
Yeah, and then there's another part of this, and Mark, I think you'll appreciate this. We have a much stronger social safety net today than we did 30, 40, 50 years ago. There's been a lot of things that have been put into place that mitigate poverty, so
Right.
that you don't feel it like you would have in the past.
But, I remember when Tobin and I were first married, and we had 2 kids right out of the gate. I got married so talk about ages. I was 22 when I graduated from college, 23 when I got married, 24 when I had my first baby, 26 when I had my second baby. We had no money, and we had even less sense. And there were times where we really struggled at first.
No, I bet.
But, that's kind of the American experience, right? That's kind of what you have as you're growing up. There are times where things are fat, and there are times when things are lean.
Yeah, I've been through it many times in my life.
Exactly.
And we didn't really rely on government programs to help us. We had a lot of family support.
Right.
And that's another sort of traditional cultural thing that I think we see. And you see it a lot in immigrant families where they all live together and help each other get started, and then they, support each other, and that's a big part of the American experience as well.
Indeed.
Now, here's a little statistic, and I don't mean to go too far off the track for you, but I was reading a newspaper article, a Sun newspaper article from about 2 months ago, and it had the chief of police, Bergwan.
Yes.
Jared Bergwan. And he was talking about homeless in San Bernardino.
Yeah.
And that there was over 2,000 homeless in San Bernardino.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. We have a very high population because of the warmer weather here, even though it's not really warm outside right now. Usually it is warmer. So that's something to think about. Mental illness, choices, drugs. There's a lot of reasons for that.
And a lot of people who suffer from addiction are actually duly diagnosed, or they should be duly diagnosed. They're self-medicating for some underlying mental health issue.
Well, and this is one of the things that we are not doing as well as they used to do. In the olden days, they used to have facilities for these people where
Right.
the mental health facilities and places where these people could be. Today, they're just all out on the street.
Right.
And so it's more noticeable to us.
And we need to do something about that,
I agree.
think. Yeah.
I agree. So we're a little bit over on the break for the break. It's 6:33. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we got Mark Westwood in the booth. When we get back, we'll be talking with executive coach Patty Cotton. Looking forward to that discussion. This is KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. We'll be right back.
KCAA. With your Monday news, I'm Jim Miller, CNBC News, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, the station that leaves no listener behind. Well, now let's just suggest that Americans back to their old credit card spending habits, not since the beginning of the Great Recession. Card Hub's credit and debt study found that the average household will ring in the new year owing more than $8,000, a threshold that has not been crossed since 2008. Metrolink will not begin service on its new Paris Valley line until a positive train control safety feature is added next year. It's the first addition to the Metrolink system in 20 years and was designed to reduce congestion along the parallel Route 215 freeway. 9 miles of new track have been added. A federal grant signing ceremony was held 2 years ago. Construction of the $248 million project began 2 months later. Third man charged in a triple shooting that left one dead has been arrested. San Bernardino County Sheriff's booking information shows 26-year-old Dadrian Sessions of San Bernardino taken into custody Friday on an arrest warrant. He was named as the third person connected with the shooting death of Daryl Moore December 5th. The 2 other men, 28-year-old Tracy Ruff and 25-year-old Eric Brown Jr., already behind bars. Sunday morning, worshipers shocked to find someone had vandalized a Hawthorne mosque. Mosque members called the Hawthorne Police Department, and they found what believed was a grenade inside. Officers carted off the area, later determined the grenade was plastic and didn't pose a threat. Short time later, they received a call that someone had scrawled, "Jesus is the way," on the Islamic Center of Hawthorne at 12209 Hawthorne Boulevard. And that's your news. I'm Jim Miller, CNBC News, KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Ron Pritchard. For this morning, we've got mostly sunny skies and a high near 52. Tonight, mostly clear with a low near 39. Tuesday, sunny with a high near 56. Tuesday night, mostly clear, a low near 39. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 57. Wednesday night, mostly clear, a low near 40. Thursday, sunny with a high near 63. Thursday night, mostly clear, a low near 45. Friday, sunny with a high near 72. Friday night, mostly clear with a low near 47. Saturday, mostly sunny with a high near 72. Saturday night, chance of rain, mostly cloudy, a low near 46. Sunday, chance of rain, mostly cloudy skies, and a high near 63. That's your weather forecast for this hour from the station that leaves no listener behind, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, KCAA.
It's time for your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker. In Rubidoux, there's an accident. The left lane is blocked on the 60 westbound approaching Rubidoux Boulevard. Stop and go traffic from Market Street. In Chino, stop and go traffic on the 60 westbound between Central Avenue and the 57 Orange Freeway. The 10 west is slow and go from Mountain Avenue to White Avenue. The 210 west is slow in pockets from Carnelian to Foothill Boulevard. In Corona, stop and go traffic on the 91 westbound between McKinley Street and Green River Road. The 71 south is busy between Pine Avenue and the 91. In Murrieta, stop and go traffic on the 15 southbound between the 215 and the 79 south Temecula Parkway. In Moreno Valley, slow traffic on the 215 northbound between Alessandro Boulevard and University Avenue. The 60 west is busy between Day Street and the 215. In Running Springs, we have snow on the roadway on the Highway 330, not surprisingly, in both directions. Their CHP is requiring chains on all vehicles heading up into the San Bernardino Mountains. And finally, in the Cajon Pass, there's road construction. 3 lanes are closed on the 15 north between Oak Hill Road and Highway 395. The 3 right lanes are closed for road work until 3 p.m. This has been your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker.
Listening to KCAA Loma Linda at 106.5 FM, K293CF Moreno Valley.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
We got Mark Westwood in the booth. We are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. And pleased to welcome back to the show our regular guest and one of our favorite guests, Patty Cotton. She's an executive coach serving all over Southern California and the world, actually, but focused largely on executives trying to break through that, break beyond the pack. She works with a lot of women, although she works with men too. Welcome to the show, Patty.
Thank you, Erin. Great to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. So, I know that you have worked with a diverse array of executives, nonprofit, for-profit, small companies, big companies, and all different kinds of roles. What is the most common question or challenge that your clients bring to you?
Wow, that is a good question. There's a common theme that really threads through every single opportunity that I have with coaching clients. And that is that no matter whether you want to be more effective or you're stuck somewhere or you can't seem to be able to break through to do thus and such, that it all boils down to personal power. It's how to tap into and use effectively our personal power. I would say that's the common thread.
Well, kind of define personal power. Is that, what is that?
So personal power is actually misunderstood because we connote a lot of times power with something bad. Because, as we grow up and we have our experiences, we'll say, well, that guy is just taking up with too much power, or that gal is power hungry. And so a lot of times we associate power with negative situations or negative approaches. But in fact, power is like electricity. It's either on or it's off. It's the ability to be able to do. So personal power would be the ability to be able to effectuate or get done that which you want to get done. It makes sense?
It does. It does. Now, that has different meaning for men and women. I think men in our culture, but just in their nature, are more apt to take on that power, where women, whether it's cultural or it's nature, are more reticent to do that.
That's very true, and actually you're right with nature and nurture, because we as women are actually wired chemically to be peacemakers, and associated with that, we're also taught in school to do what we do well, and we as women, we as small girls, are able to be quiet and sit still in the classroom where the boys get rewarded out on the playground. So what that means is our wiring and our early experiences reward us for not speaking up, not being disruptive or emotive, but actually sitting very still. So we become accustomed to not tapping into that personal power. So what that means is when we need the personal power, we don't feel comfortable with it. It feels foreign to us, and it might even feel, if you know, my grandson would say that feels icky, Mimi. You know, it does, to be very, scientific about it. It feels like something outside of our skin. We don't wear it well. And a lot of times when we want to get things done, we'll actually go from 0 to 60 and think, whoa, that was ugly. Well, I better not try that again. So we're not used to it. So women are not used to tapping into it simply because of their early experiences and being rewarded for being something different. And the boys, on the other hand, are rewarded for what they do well when they're small. They're wired to get out there and, be more disruptive with the testosterone and get dirty and roll around and take a lot of risks to see what happens. So it just kind of sloughs off them when there's a difficult situation and they have to get in there and take care of it. Now, I'm generalizing, obviously.
Sure, of course.
There are nuances with each gender, and there are many crossovers, but that's generally how it is. So tapping into personal power for women sounds kind of scary, where the guys are like, well, yeah, sure, and what's your point? So it's kind of scary because it's taking a hold of yourself. But if we can say this another way, because power is like any tool. It's like a screwdriver. It's going to help us do something. I would say that we could rename personal power as effectively leading yourself. Because if you can't effectively lead yourself, you cannot effectively lead others.
So let me give you a scenario that it's a dynamic that probably exists in every workplace. So you have a boss, and let's just say, for the sake of argument, in this example, your boss is male, and you're female, and the boss is a strong guy, used to getting what he wants, used to, that's why he's the boss. He's a no nonsense kind of guy, and you disagree with him on something, and you know that you're right, and you know that that you have to get your point across, but he has a much more forceful demeanor, and I hope you're following me. He has a much more forceful demeanor. How does a woman, keep her sense of self and who she is, because maybe she likes who she is? How does she engage him in a way that he understands, but still makes her feel like she's being true to herself?
So what a great question. Wow. I'll give you a little bit of background, and I'll try to speed it up so I can get to the point and answer your question.
Okay.
But I would say that the woman, first of all, has to have a very good self-awareness. What are your strengths and weaknesses? What are your values and your gifts? Because you have to know what you have to work with. Does that make sense?
It does.
So far? You've got to know what you're working with. So, and if you don't know that, do a self-assessment or take an assessment available somewhere, work with someone, grab a friend and go back and forth until you understand what you're working with. Now, it's not enough to know what you're working with. Now that you know what you're working with, you have to know how to manage what you're working with. How do you tap into that? So self-management is, if you will, the ability to control or redirect one's emotions and impulses and to flex the circumstances. So now let's come to the boss. When you're aware of what you're working with, when you're able to manage, now you've got to take it to the social. How do you work with conflict? How do you work with difficult situations? And to be very let's get granular with the boss in the situation. So the boss may be, boss is very direct, very powerful. This is my lens interpreting what you just said.
Yes, and that is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
And he's not afraid of conflict. He's
not afraid of conflict. He's just ready to get in there, roll around, and get dirty, and get things done, and get through it. And you have a woman who, what I'm hearing, is not used to dealing with conflict or wondering how to deal with it effectively, because if she doesn't, the situation seems rather intimidating.
Or
is that
perhaps,
what I'm hearing?
Yes, or perhaps that her way of dealing with conflict is softer. Instead of taking it head on, she finds middle ground. Does things that women tend, and of course we're generalizing, does things that women are generally more likely to do, find common ground and work from there and all of that. Whereas the boss is like, nope, this is the way it is, and he's very male and she's very female.
Yeah. And actually, to the relational skills are the soft skills: communicating, relating, creating community, actually are the biggest return on investment bottom line in companies. It's just that we haven't tapped into that for women yet, as we should. And so what you're describing are the soft skills that we possess, but we don't know how to use them effectively often enough. So let's go to the boss. Ask questions. Here's what I would say. The boss comes in and says, we've got to do it this way. And the female employee says, can I ask a question? Now that's going to throw off the confrontation. Instead of saying, why do we have to do that this way? Wait a minute. It's ask a question. Can you share a bit more with me? Can we sit down and talk about that a moment? Oh, well, sure. What's there to talk about? Well, help me to understand X, Y, Z. Well, it's just that, it's this and it's that, and you should be able to do this. Can I check in with you for a moment? Do you have a moment? Yes. Now you've brought his bulldog pace down to your level. Now you're sitting across from each other. Can you feel that?
Yeah, you have. You changed the dynamic.
You've changed the dynamic. Now it's the time to say something like this. Let's say that the boss has asked you to do something that he's asked you to do time and time again, last minute. It's always last minute. What it means is you're going to pull a half all-night, a half-nighter, and that's going to affect your family life, that's going to affect your plans and so forth, but it's by golly, he decides, and he figures you don't have a life outside of what he's asking you to do.
That's a great example.
Okay, so let's go there. So let's say, do you have a minute? Can I share with you? Now we're going to go to what I call the I statements. You're going to pull your accusing finger back from saying, you always this, and this always happens, and so forth. Put your hands down, figuratively, and say, I need to share with you for a moment. When I'm given deadlines at the last minute, it's frustrating because I want to do my best, and I find that I do my best when I have at least 48 hours lead time. Can we talk about an alternative? Because in this case, I know the client, and the client's not expecting anything till Friday. Here's what I just did. I did not say you always this. I'm always getting this. You're saying, here's how I feel. I feel frustrated when I get a directive that asks me to bring in next morning, because I realize that sometimes this is going to happen. But when it happens on a consistent basis, I'm not able to deliver my best for you. Can we talk about an alternative for this? And then, so I went I and we, not you. I took the you out of the equation. Well, I just thought you could, but and I'm happy to do that, Mr. So-and-so, but understanding that the client isn't looking for it until Friday, could we readjust what we're talking about as a deadline so that I can give this more time and come up with a more comprehensive report? Is that all right with you?
That's wonderful. Hold on to that. I'm going to give you another scenario when we get back. This is absolutely fantastic. We're a little bit late for a break. It's 6:48. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
We got Mark Westwood in the booth, and we're talking with Patty Cotton,
about bosses.
About bosses. as my radio station boss is sitting in the booth. So this is KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Inland Talk Express, 1050 AM and 106.5 FM, KCAA Loma Linda.
As the owner of my business, I wear a lot of hats. I'm accounting, sales, and so much more. But I don't know marketing.
Let Dex Media be your marketing department. Our team can create a digital plan for you with everything from search to social. Contact Dex Media, that's DEX Media, to get found, get chosen, and get talked about.
Whoa, that's a job for cleanup, which would be me.
Call 844-230-3436 or visit dexmedia.com today.
Hi, this is Steve Alladort from Rancho Financial with the Mortgage Minute. With property values increasing, this might be the perfect time to do a loan checkup to see if it makes sense to refinance. Do you have an equity line? If your equity line is getting close to 10 years old, your payment is about to fully amortize. Coupled with the certainty that the feds will soon increase short-term rates, there might be a substantial jump in payment on your line of credit. If we combine your current loan, equity line, and possibly even some of your credit debt, there could be a substantial reduction in what you have to pay each month. Do you have VA eligibility? VA will allow 100% cash-out financing. This may be a perfect time to use your eligibility. We can go 85% cash out with FHA or 80% with a standard conventional loan. There are many possible options that could make a huge difference in your monthly payments. That's why you need a loan financial planner to provide you with all of your possible options. Give me a call, Steve Alladort, at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070, or go to loanfinancialplanner.com.
It's time for some Dillylicious food at Pizza Dilly. Pizza Dilly Pizza in Colton, home of the famous 2-foot pizza with 32 slices of simply the best Dillylicious Pizza Dilly mouth-watering pizza. Pizza Dilly has all kinds of lunch specials Monday through Friday, starting at $3.99, all Dillylicious. Stop by, refresh, refuel, have a cold drink, enjoy a tasty salad or a great specialty Dillylicious sub sandwich, or simply Dilly-lightful Pizza Dilly wings. Pizza Dilly is also People Dilly because your friends are all already there enjoying one of Pizza Dilly's giant screens, watching one of their favorite teams, and if you love the Dodgers, you'll love Pizza Dilly, your hometown Dodger station, all year round. Come on in, enjoy a great pizza, enjoy Pizza Dilly, the real Dilly deal at 194 East Valley Boulevard in Colton, or call 909-370-0242. Once again, that's 909-370-0242.
Welcome back. I'm Marion Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on Kcaa AM 1050 and FM 106.5. Got, I almost said Brandon McCormick in the booth. No, he's out sick today.
Poor Brandon.
Well, he just turned 21. He's sick today.
No. I believe he's sick.
I believe it. I just tease. I tease. We have Mark Westwood in the booth. We continue our conversation with Patty Cotton, executive coach extraordinaire. We're talking about personal power and in the workplace. So Patty, got another scenario for you.
Great.
I'm sure that lots of people have worked, and myself included, have worked for bosses who change meetings constantly. So especially if it's very frustrating, especially if there are people from the outside that you're trying to coordinate. You get pushed to the side because he's got somebody else that he wants to deal with, and et cetera, et cetera. That particular scenario is incredibly disrespectful and frustrating, but maybe hard to confront the boss about. And why don't you talk about that kind of situation?
Oh, that's fabulous, because I was actually going to talk about this kind of scenario from the standpoint that often we allow things that interfere again and again to slowly erode us without addressing them, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
I'll top your scenario by telling you that I once had a boss who would not only disrupt or keep me waiting for 45 minutes or an hour. When I got in there, he would type at the computer, answer his phone, and keep looking at the screen while he talked to me, and would take phone calls in the middle of my sentences. How's that?
Got to be kidding me.
It was amazing. So here's what you need to do. So let's go back to the scenario we had before and pull it forward. Let's say that same boss has that habit, because there is a larger conversation. When you address the immediate, let's say that the woman addressed the immediate with the deadline. She now knows that because the deadlines or the scheduling meetings, at the last minute interrupting those, continues to happen, she recognizes that there needs to be a follow-up conversation. And if you take a look at anybody who's listening out there, anywhere in your business or your life where something keeps repeating so that it's very frustrating, you're carrying a lot of stress from it, that's a situation that you need to deal with. You need to have a conversation. So let's go back to our I statements. Thoughtful time, make an appointment, and actually get in there to sit down and say, I just need 5 minutes of your time. Something that I realize is interfering with my ability to be more effective for you and the company. Now we go to I statements here. This is what I notice keeps happening, and I'm becoming increasingly frustrated because when we have meetings on the calendar, they seem to be pushed back, or I'm asked a lot of times to sit outside while you conduct other business once I've gotten in there, and so forth and so on. Here's what's happening for me. I'm losing valuable time that I could be dedicating for you to my projects and so forth, and it makes me feel as though our time together is not valuable. Can we talk about a way to safeguard those meetings, understanding that once in a while things are going to have to change? But on the whole, here's what I would like to see. And let me pause for a moment and just say, notice that I consistently said, this is what I'm experiencing happening, this is how I'm feeling about it.
So
okay.
let me push back a little bit. And so he says,
go ahead.
He says or she says, well, I've got important things to do. You're not my only
yes.
Thing that I have to worry about.
Absolutely. And so here's where you go. No yes buts. It's yes and. Okay? Yes, Mr. So-and-so, I understand that. And I also know that you value the productivity that I'm able to bring to the table. And I'm experiencing a great loss of productivity because of these interruptions and have actually near missed some deadlines because of it. I fully understand. But keep going like this. Yes, and this is how it affects me. This is what I am able to do. Because when you say, hey, you always, you never, they can argue with you. But when you come back to, this is how I feel and I'm being affected, they may say, let's go abusive here. Let's say you have an abusive boss who says, well, that's stupid.
Yes.
Why do you do that? That's ridiculous. You push back and say, I understand that, and yet that is how it affects me and my ability to do. This is what I need in order to perform effectively. And then you can come with some solutions. Could we make a once-a-month coffee where we get out of the office? Because I noticed that, a lot of times you get interrupted because your door is open. Come with 2 or 3 solutions. It doesn't mean that you have to fix the problem. It means that you want to be solution-oriented and you want to show, goodwill in trying to help remedy.
Very good. And if it continues where you're feeling diminished constantly over and over again, to be redundant, then perhaps you need to evaluate whether you want to stay in that position or with that boss or with that company.
Yes, and then put another way, a little more starkly, I would ask you, what's the payoff for you to stay in that story? That you're eroded and you simply can't do your job because of your boss. What's the payoff you're getting there? The payoff that you're getting is that you're not taking responsibility for your circumstances. And we might hear things like, well, I need this job. Okay. If you need this job, what else do you need? Well, I need self-respect. What do you need more? Is there a way to get both? If there's not, then what's the payoff for you? What do you need to do? How would you like to handle this? So when I hear somebody come to me and say, well, he always this and I just can't, that's somebody stuck in story.
Yep.
That's somebody accusing, not taking personal responsibility, and having to make perhaps a very difficult, decision, but one that is ultimately empowering so that we can lead at our best, so that we can take a hold of personal power.
We are completely out of time. Let me just say you are at pattycotton.com, PATTICOTTON. Patty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Tobin.
Have a great day. We are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050 and FM 106.5. I'm Erin Brinker.
I'm Tobin Brinker.
Got Mark Westwood in the booth. Have a great day, everybody.
This is KCAA Loma Linda. CNBC News is next. Brought to you by BuySellMakeOffer.com. Go there now and join the thousands who have already signed up for a new and exciting way to buy and sell online, launching January 15th.
I'm Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio. There's no major economic data out today, but traders are looking ahead to this week's Fed meeting. It's widely expected the central bank will decide to begin hiking interest rates from historic lows. Oil prices sank to a fresh multi-year low this morning before bouncing back a bit. Meantime, gasoline continues to plunge to an average $2.01 per gallon. That's 58 cents lower than this time last year and the cheapest it's been since the recession. Californians are paying the most at $2.65, while South Carolinians are shelling out just $1.79. Activist investor Daniel Loeb reportedly wants to see Dow Chemical remove Chief Executive Andrew Liveris from his post. The paper says Loeb sent a private letter to Dow's board on Sunday questioning the timing of the company's deal to merge with DuPont. Chris Maurer, CNBC.
Meet Vince. Vince hurt himself mountain biking on Saturday.
Because weekend warrior.
Because noob.
Hey.
Vince is supposed to host an important presentation, but he's not going anywhere in that cast. What should he do?
Rhetorical question.
Vince should try GoToMeeting, the simple way to host meetings online, complete with video conferencing and screen sharing. Send out a meeting link and anyone can join from any computer, tablet, or smartphone. Just takes a click.
Where do I sign up?
Visit GoToMeeting.com to start your free 30-day trial. That's GoToMeeting.com.
There are no guarantees in love, but there is a guarantee from EH Plus by eHarmony, our new personal matchmaking service. At EH Plus, your own personal matchmaker gets to know you so well, we can guarantee introductions that will be satisfying and exciting. EH Plus goes far beyond regular online dating sites, and that's a guarantee. Visit us at ehplus.com/love or call 1-855-930-LOVE.
California headline news. Southern California drivers stuck for hours after a mudslide closed miles of lanes of the northbound I-5 freeway north of L.A. Crews in Kcaa working through the night, clearing debris from the rain-drenched areas. Stranded drivers trying to figure out how to get to other routes and get home to their loved ones.
I want to go home. She's 88. I don't really know what to do. So I'm scared.
Back up over 4 miles long. A show of solidarity for the victims of the San Bernardino shootings on the steps of City Hall in L.A.
Since San Bernardino, we've seen 21 incidents of hate in the last week directed towards our Muslim brothers and sisters. Not in our city, not in Southern California, not here.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti. Police in Hawthorne say someone scrawled the words "Jesus is the answer" on the wall of one mosque. Vandals drawing crosses on a wall and the word Jesus on a fence at another Islamic center. Worshippers discovering the vandalism when they arrived for early morning prayers Sunday. Geico weather clearing skies but cool conditions through much of the state today. Jeff Scott, California News.
Geico presents Unanswerable Questions.
Why are yawns contagious? What makes some ketchup fancy? Or the big one, why doesn't everyone switch to Geico and they could save 15% or more on car insurance? However, you could be a part of the answer by switching to Geico and saving hundreds for yourself. Money you could use to purchase bottle after bottle of the fanciest of ketchups.
Geico, the answer to savings. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The following is a serious Geico commercial.
Geico's been perfecting car insurance for over 75 years, and that shouldn't provoke a belly laugh. It should provoke deep admiration, like when you consider Geico's dependability, always there to provide help on the phone, online, or on the mobile app, which isn't a laugh riot. And no one would cackle at the hundreds of dollars Geico could save you on car insurance. In conclusion, you should take switching to Geico seriously, because their over 75 years of savings and service is no laughing matter.
Geico, saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years.
And good morning to you. Mark Westwood on the radio with you, taking a quick look at weather. Well, it's chilly. Chilly out there. About 42 degrees right now. Going to remain partly cloudy and going to have an increasing chance of showers by Thursday. Right now, 42 degrees at Kcaa as we take a look at traffic with Aaron Brinker.
So it's time for Kcaa AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic. In Rubidoux, there's an accident. The left lane is blocked on the 60 westbound approaching Rubidoux Boulevard. Stop-and-go traffic from the 215-91 Riverside Freeway. In Chino, stop-and-go traffic on the 60 westbound between Ramona Avenue and the 57 Orange Freeway. The 10 west is slow and go from Ramona to White Avenue. The 210 west is slow in pockets from Mountain to Foothill Boulevard. In Corona, stop-and-go traffic on the 91 westbound between McKinley Street and Green Green River Road. 91 East is heavy from Adams to Central Avenue. The 71 South is busy between Pine Avenue and the 91. In Riverside, slow traffic on the 15 northbound between Temesco Canyon Road and El Cerrito Road. In Corona, slow traffic on the 15 northbound between Hidden Valley Parkway and Harupa Street. 15 South is busy in patches between the 210 and the 60. In Moreno Valley, slow traffic on the 215 northbound between Alessandro Boulevard and University Avenue. The 215 South is slow and go from La Cadena to Columbia Avenue. The 60 West is busy between Heacock and the 215. In Running Springs, we have snow on the roadway. On Highway 330, not surprisingly, both eastbound and westbound. At Hilltop Boulevard, the CHP is requiring chains on all vehicles heading up to the mountains, San Bernardino Mountains today. In Cajon Pass, road construction, 3 lanes are closed on the 15 north between Oak Hill Road and Highway 395. The 3 right lanes are closed for work until 3 p.m. This has been your KCAA AM 1050 and FM 106.5 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker.
For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda.
He has been a professional money manager for the last 18 years. He is a regular contributor to the Fox Business Channel and Bloomberg Radio. In addition to this, he is a regular contributor to TheStreet.com and MarketWatch.com. Now he's live here on the Wall Street Business Network. Here is Bill Gunderson.
And welcome to the Monday morning, December 14th live edition of the Best Stocks Now Radio Hour with professional money manager Bill Gunderson, president of Gunderson Capital Management. Well, let's hope for a better week this week. That's kind of been the pattern of the market here recently. We have a bad week and then we have a good week. We had a bad week last week. We don't need another bad one this week, and I think we could have a pretty good solid bounce this week. We'll see. Not yet. The Dow is down 11 points right now. The Dow is at 17,253 as we speak. We have the S&P is actually positive right now, up a couple points, up 1.5, 2013. Seems to be pretty good support down at that 2,000 level on the Dow, or on the S&P 500. We have the NASDAQ up almost 2 points, 4,935. Crude oil, which is the big story. It was the big story last week. Crude oil along with junk bonds, which we'll talk about here today. The big story in last week's sell-off. Crude oil is $35.20 today. Can you believe it? Well, nothing goes down forever. Crude will find a bottom. It seems to be bouncing around here now, and we'll see if this is finally the bottom for crude oil. Gold down 0.5% today. Gold is at $1,070, $1,070 per ounce. Boy, the euro's getting a bounce here today. I guess Draghi being a little bit restrained with the quantitative easing here recently. 109.97. That's the highest that the euro's been for a while, and the 10-year yield's at 2.19%. So welcome to